Does this feel good? Does this feel good? Your Philadelphia Eagles are back in the Super Bowl. Yeah, welcome in and welcome back to a familiar setting. That's right. A lot of you are on the planet just, 5 years ago when we saw the same thing happen. The Philadelphia Eagles are in the Super Bowl. My goodness, what do we do? How do we react? What do we say? Well, here's the thing. Everybody take a breath. They earned this spot week in and week out. They executed, they prepared, they improved, they adjusted, and they overcame. All of these things together got you where you are today. They took advantage of circumstance. My goodness. I mean, I don't want to harp too much on what happened in that Niners game, but I'll take more from the Giants game than I will from the Niners game. The 49ers were just destroyed. And it wasn't even by the Eagles so much as it was themselves. Look, Hassan Reddick's play on Brock Purdy, which was 100% legal and in the confines of the game, destroyed the 49ers. You take out your starting quarterback any week in a game, not ahead of time, not like on Tuesday or not like on Thursday, but when you take out a starting quarterback in any football game, you should win that game. There is just no reason outside of what you do on the field to lose a football game if you have a backup coming in. I'm sorry, but Josh Johnson as a fourth-string quarterback does not belong in the NFL outside of the circumstances in which he was in the NFL because they had no more quarterbacks behind Brock Purdy. So at that point, the game's over. The game's over. And we're kind of sitting around like, hey, it's 7-7. You know, Christian McCaffrey just scored here. Like, what's really going on right now? Well, what was going on is the Eagles just took some time. They took a little time and jumped on opportunity and also waited for the inevitable. Now, I don't know if this was a game plan. I don't know if it was discussed. I don't even know if it was talked about in the radio channels between coaches, but you knew, you had to have known that there was just a matter of time to come in which the Philadelphia Eagles would not be the team imploding, right? In which reality would set in. And it kind of did. Now, it took a half of football, I would say, but it kind of did, right? Where that final stretch in the second quarter, you got to see truly what it looked like for a football team to just not give up, but the inevitable realization that they ain't going to win a football game. Like that's basically what you saw, was a team just come to grips with reality. And that's a hard thing to do, right? Like that's a tough thing to do when you're dealing with a reality in the middle of a game. It's one thing to prepare for all week and all these other things, but no. Now, let's bring in a fan favorite. Cobb, Gary Cobb, all over the place, gcobb.com, Fox 29. Gary, my friend, I'm sure that in your long, illustrious career in the NFL, as great and as fruitful as it was, you might have played on a team and you might have had a game where it was not the end of the game, but maybe like in the middle of the game, where you look over and say, or maybe somebody looks over at you and says, hey, man, not today. Not today. It feels like the Niners kind of realized that in the second quarter. Back-to-back scores. Realization.
Well, that's definitely what happened. You know, it just seemed like it was a case where, you understand, they got frustrated. And really, that's the ref's fault. Because you could see it going that way, and the refs should have stopped everybody and say, okay, let me get straight to you coaches. We're throwing anybody. We're gone, man. We could put a quick hook out, and we're going to make sure it costs you money. See, that's what guys, when the guys start talking about major money, then they go, whoa. Okay, you guys are really serious. Because, you know, the game was over. Once Purdy went down, the backup was just, I mean, it's horrible. He couldn't even get out of the huddle. I mean, he's trying to call the play, and he's struggling to get out of the huddle. So that was a case where they were just in over their head. You know, that's a situation where you hate to see that. But I really didn't even enjoy the game a whole lot because it wasn't a contest. You know, it was over. And I didn't think, Jalen didn't throw the ball well.
Right.
You know, That wasn't one of their better games, really, offensively, where the passing game was not where it should be. And, they had opportunities to really exploit the 49ers, and they didn't. But because of what the defense did, the game was over. And that's one of the things you got to give the Eagles credit. They can win every way you name, except maybe special teams. The punt returner is not going to – he doesn't scare anybody, But other than that, they can beat you in these other ways, and that's why Kansas City, they got to be sweating a bit because they're not going to be able to block the defensive line consistently, and then they can't stop them from running. The Eagles are going to be able to run the ball on them, and if Jalen is on point, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them to beat the Eagles because they can win both the offensive line and defensive line. And when you got an advantage in both of those, because really they beat the Niners. They ran the ball down their throat, right up the gut. And then they couldn't pass. They couldn't protect their quarterbacks. That's why both of them got knocked out, because they can't protect their quarterback. So, it's going to be tough for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be tough for them.
I'm telling you. All right. So I have to ask you, because you've seen a lot of this game. I'm not trying to date you, right? But you've seen a lot of this game, and you've seen
I'm
lot
not
of
a spring chicken. I'm sorry.
No, but look, I'm old too, right? Like we're all up there and whatnot. But you've played the game and you've seen the game.
I didn't say I was old, but anyway.
No. You're right. I stand corrected. I'm old. I got the grays here. You got the nice dark hair still on the stash. I got the grays all over the place. G.
Well. During sometimes of the week, it's not that dark.
My man, I have to ask you though, of all the teams, and look, let me preface this, man. I'm not trying to be the prisoner of the moment. I'm not trying to be like hyperbolic. I'm not trying to go crazy and rah in the streets. But you've got 4 guys with double-digit sacks. You've got people that are impacting the game on levels that I don't know if we've seen collectively. Is this the best Eagles defense you've ever seen before? And if not, why?
Well, I can say that. And
I'm putting you on the spot. I know.
No. When you talk about the total defense, it could be because I think cornerback wise, they're capable of playing on a level of ahead of like all the cornerbacks. I mean, you had Eric Allen years ago, and we've had other quality cornerbacks. But when you look at all of the talent, I think this is probably the deepest, most talented defense. Yeah, it probably is. Because you got 4 guys that have more than 10 sacks. You got, depth. And that's where it's really tough, because they can keep everybody fresh. They're sending guys in there. You got guys on the sideline go, Coach, let me get some plays, Coach.
That's right.
And you got guys that want to play, and you got Ndaka Sue, where somebody might have thought, hey, he was retired, and all of a sudden he's hitting the quarterback, knocking him out. I mean, they got a lot of talent, and I will say that it seems like they're coming together at the right time, because really the defense won that game, and the offense really, even though, they still score, 31 points and you're really not having one of your best games. So I think that it probably is maybe the best defense that we've seen. But of course that's debatable, because there's a lot of people wouldn't.
Right. Now look, I get it. And a lot of people our collective age probably won't like to hear that, right? With Buddy's D's and the 2017 defense was stupendous. But this year just feels like they're like Hassan Reddick is on another planet right now, G.
I know. Yeah, I know. I talked to him after the game. I'm going like, it just seems like his technique has just gotten sharper. He's off the ball, and just seems like his burst is, I mean, he is getting it done. I mean, he's like a one-man wrecking crew. Like when the game starts out, he already got 3 sacks. I mean, you could be like, I'm going like, man, what is he doing, man? And he's just playing great football. And, they just didn't do a good job of making sure, look, we shouldn't be asking this tight end to try to block this guy. because he might be listed as a linebacker,
right?
But he's really a pass rusher, And he went around him like, boom. And the kid, though, Purdy, though, after the game, you see the kid. Look, kid, you got in over your head.
Do you think? And I don't even want to go down this road though, but I don't know if the Niners even had a chance at having a chance once Purdy goes down. And then you see Josh Johnson, the head injury. I mean, we were a play away from Kyle Juszczyk taking over the quarterback duties when McCaffrey was like, like you saw McCaffrey on the sideline. He's like, cut that. I ain't going out there.
Yeah. Well, they didn't expect this. I will say that you got to take your hat off to San Francisco. That's why I kind of felt bad for them and regretted that this was an NFC Championship game, that it would be played like this, where,
right.
And really, I think the headline should be the Eagles disarm the 49ers.
Ooh.
Because that's what they did.
Yep. Yep. I like it.
And so, they were our team, which you look at, you see what they went through, where they lost one quarterback and they lost another quarterback during the season. And then they get this kid and they go on a run. Sure as day, a quarter into the game, that's going to decide who goes to the Super Bowl. They lose that kid. And then they get the next guy they send in. He gets knocked out. You still Kyle Shanahan. He was just standing over there like a guy that just been slapped in the face, man. He didn't know what to do. But
my goodness,
that's football. You know what they always say that, in fact, I've had a number of coaches used to say this all the time. If you're looking for sympathy, you can find it in the dictionary.
You know what? I may use that with my son, G. I'm going to give him a year or so, but I may use that with my son. I say, Gary Cobb once told me.
Well, my dad didn't say it, but he pretty much lived it, because he tell you, he wasn't feeling sorry for you if you weren't prepared or whatever, because this is the way life is, and they came in and they didn't protect their quarterback and they got both of them knocked out. And that's the 49ers' fault. That's Kyle Shanahan's fault for designing the play where you got a tight end trying to block one of their best pass rushers.
Hey, real quick, on the way out, Gene, and again, Gary, I appreciate the time. We'll run it back, everybody, where they can find you, watch you, and all the good stuff before you get out. But I don't need a score by any means. I'm just curious. It's the earliest look we can get right now. It's a Monday, post-victory Monday. What bothers you? Let's look at it this way. What bothers you about the Chiefs outside of the obvious, which is Patrick Mahomes? Like, Mahomes is Superman. I get it. But not take away Mahomes. I'm just saying, what on this Chiefs team? The fact that they blitzed the most on third down, the fact that Isaiah Pacheco is a running back, like things like that maybe jump out.
Well, 95.
Oh, okay, we can start there.
I mean, that's the thing I see where he's a bad boy. And but I think the Eagles, they can block him though. They can block him. You just got one dude. It's just like with Bosa. You got one pass rusher. So they'll be able to handle him, but I gotta respect him. He's a monster. But other than that, you don't see anything defensively that's really dominant. So I think they're a team where, the numbers are tight because of Mahomes, but I think that the Eagles are gonna win it.
Love it.
And I feel confident about that, and I think they've shown that they got the best offensive line and the best defensive line. We heard all this stuff about the Niners.
Right. That's right.
The Niners pass rush, where was it? And as I said, they beat them 31-7. And really, Jalen didn't have a great game throwing the ball. He didn't. If he'd have been on target, it could have been 50. I'm serious.
Yeah, I know.
Think about the shots he missed.
Yep.
And it could have been 50, man. And so I think that they haven't played their best game yet. So look out.
Love it. gcobb.com, right? Fox 29, post-game show. You're everywhere, right?
Yeah, well, I'm at home. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a smart man working from home.
Well,
see?
Yeah, well, I'll be out there at the Super Bowl.
Beautiful.
So they'll be able to check. I'll be putting stuff up about what's going on out there. There'll be a lot of guys. I'll be getting a chance to, of course, all the boys will be out there, so we get a chance to do a lot of talk, have a good time out there, and then watch these boys put the trophy up in the air.
Get a nice little cigar with the rest of them and hang. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. We had a good time. We had a good time in the locker room after the game. The guys were in there. They were having a good time in there.
I'm sure. Anybody who's being interviewed, you can hear the music, the vibe. Were they blasting Anita, or was that just Jalen?
They were putting on all kind of stuff. They really have a party. And all of us, the older guys that played and everything, go look at these young boys. Yeah. They were in there. They were kicking it. They were having a good time. They had the cigars all lit, and they were having a good time in there.
That's awesome, man. It's funny, too, that you've got two guys on the complete opposite ends of their careers, in Nick Sirianni and Andy Reid. And I don't know if there are more coaches in the NFL that directly relate with their lot. Like Nick Sirianni has become a player when it comes to relating with his guys. And Andy Reid is like, he's 30 years younger with this Chiefs team. And you see him dancing and doing all this stuff and a lot. Like, it's crazy. These two guys connect. Maybe there's something there. I don't know.
Well, I think what they have, though, is the key, which is you got to connect with your players.
Yeah.
However you do it, guys do it in different ways. But, Nick was in there. He was going around to each locker, talking to each guy, and doing his stuff. And he definitely made that connection. His guys play for him. And that's what you want to do as a head coach. You want to have your guys playing for you. And both of those guys get that. So we'll see what happens. It's gonna be fun.
Love it. Love you, G. Thank you, sir.
All right. Have a great one.